What up, YouTube? I'm back again with another live video, and I decided to pick another book. I am currently in the mix of reading Rest in Power, The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin, and then I also have My Sister Tommy, The Real Timmy Terrell. But since I'm almost done with the Trayvon Martin book, I think I got like two chapters left. I was like, why not add another book to my reading? Even though I been switching from book to book. I didn't anyway, y'all already know. So I decided to read Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man by Ja Rule. Y'all ain't know some of y'all may have known well, I'm not sure if any Ja Rule fans will watch this video. I'm hoping that they do. But as for my Ja Rule fans, I'm pretty sure some of you probably didn't know he had a book. Some of you may know he had a book. Some of you probably even got the book. But yes, Ja Rule has a book. And by the looks of things, it got some commentary from Queen Latifah, Russell Simmons, and Irv Gotti. So we're going to see what this book is about. But by the looks of things, it says Ja Rule, international recording star. Ja Rule has sold 30 million records worldwide. His unwavering talent is relentlessly captured. I mean, excuse me. His unwavering talent has relentlessly captured our attention with his addictive beats, clever lyrics, and his undeniable presence. Ja Rule has been performing for over a decade to audiences that can't get enough of his distinctively raw sound. His triumphs have brought him undreamed of success and celebrity. His tributions have visited upon him notoriously and unforgiving media attention. But who is Ja Rule? Multiple award winning artist. Unruly reveals the man behind the persona that dominates the stage and emerges from his music. In this emotive page turner, we get to know who lives behind the performer. Ja Rule honestly and unapologetically delves into his pain of becoming a fatherless child raised by a single mother and eventually growing into fulfill his dreams of becoming a iconic figure in hip hop and beyond. He shares his humble and bold reflections, which are meant to be proof for young people everywhere that if you can see it, you can be it. And he speaks with brutal candor of his own staggering mistakes, including gun possession, senseless violence, drug dealing, petty theft, substance and alcohol, and ultimately landing behind bars. Alright, so it looks like we should already know what this book is about to be about. So I'm guessing this is a memoir. But I'm pretty sure with this book and as well as many other books y'all may have heard me read on my YouTube channel, y'all could get this from Amazon, eBay, or wherever your local bookstores. Please feel free. Once again, this is Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man by Ja Rule with Kim Green. This book was released in 2014. Y'all know Ja Rule name actually is Jeffrey Atkins. This book is dedicated to my foundation, my family who is responsible for my growth, my grandparents Edward Cherry and Mary Cherry, my parents William Jeffrey Atkins, rest in peace, and Deborah Atkins, my wife Aisha, or Aish, is Aisha or Aisha, uh, and my children Brittany, Jordan, and Jeff Jr. Okay. Shall I read the contents? I guess it wouldn't be bad too. So contents part one is Veni Vedi Vecchi. I'm guessing the contents like each part is an album title of his. So part one is Veni Vedi Vecchi, which is prologue, silence, moaning, hard breathing, soulmates hollering, screaming. Part two is the last temptations, must be the music. 160 Warwick, must be a rock star. And then part three is pain is love. My father, my wife, the mirror, sober, changing. And then you have acknowledgments. So he said, I do not speak about my exploits with pride. I'm not trying to glorify or glamorize what it took to get me to this point. My only hope is that these memories of my life may save you some pain. Give all right. Now we on part one. Veni Vedi Vecchi. Prologue. July 2012. One of the correctional facility. Hopefully I pronounced that right. But y'all already know. If I pronounce something wrong, please feel free to give me the correct pronunciation. If y'all know yourselves. But most of the time while reading this, I might pronounce something wrong or I might mispronounce somebody's last name, first name. I don't know. Anywho, the corrections officers were all bitches. They spoke to us like the animals that they had made us. There was no respect for any of us, not even me, who had sold 30 million records, traveled the world, won countless awards, and flown to meetings on private jets. Who would think a bitch ass corrections officer would be the one to show me something that I should have already known? Bonita Correctional Facility in Rome, New York had a reputation among inmates for being a prison with racist CEOs and rampant misconduct among its officers. The officers would patrol the yard, always listen to some bit of conversation to get a sense of what the inmates were thinking. It was another uneventful day in the prison yard as the sun shone on the rusty chain link fences, highlighting the age and neglect of the facility. The yard always held a crisp feeling of weighty expectancy, always waiting anxiously for something to jump off. In some corners of the yard, there were the bulky inmates lifting weights, while others concentrated on their chess games. Others just stared into space, dreaming of the day when their prison nightmare would end. Arthur Smith, one of the more difficult authors, was nicknamed, excuse me, the Klansman. The Klansman may have been my age or a bit or a little younger. He had evil dark blue eyes and slick back hair, which revealed his large forehead. His beer belly was bursting through his tight uniform shirt. You know, Atkins, your kids are job security for my kids. Arthur Smith said he just looked at me as if he had said something innocent, but what he was really saying was that this cycle never gets broken for black people. I could feel my rage bubbling up in my stomach. The urge to choke the shit out of him was overwhelming. The only reason I didn't was because I knew that fights in the yard only caused sirens to flash, 24-hour lockdowns, and a lot of unnecessary paperwork. The only thing I could safely say in response was, "Not my kids." Smith didn't know what to say to that. He had assumed a whole lot about me based on the color of my skin. He wasn't expecting me to say shit back at all. That motherfucker didn't even know me, my family, or what we've been through. I may have been in prison, but it was partly because motherfuckers with an agenda put me there, and partly because of my own doing. I'm not supposed to be here, I whispered under my breath. Arthur Smith was already gone. He walked away not knowing the weight of his words. My head was heavy trying to hold them. I was supposed to be here in prison, but I was. I knew then that it was my fault and my fault only. I ain't never gonna lie. For some reason, just him talking about being in prison, all I could think of was his first. Well, I can't say if it was his first video, but the first Ja Rule video I remember ever seeing was "Put It On Me." Yeah, I swear I probably heard his music on the radio or whatever, but the first music video from Ja Rule I ever remember seeing was "Put It On Me." And I don't know why that video just clicked in my head, but anywho, I wasn't supposed to be here in prison, but I was. I knew then that it was my fault and my fault only. There were no more excuses. This was just one of them. One of those fucked up black people moments where we learn truths about ourselves through our oppressors' eyes. It was enlightening to understand how white people see us as fucking job security. In his mind, Arthur Smith, his sons, and his grandsons will further their family mission of holding black men down in prison. They will be the keepers of our place. It's scary to admit, but in some ways, it's kind of true. We don't have to be someone's fucking legacy keeping them employed by their irresponsibility and disrespect for our communities and ourselves. Our lives mean so much more than that. Our ancestors went through too much for us to be free, for me and other black people to be doing stupid shit that gets us locked up. After the conversation with C.O. Smith, I told my homies what that bitch C.O. had said to me. See, he didn't say it to y'all. He said it to me, the most successful motherfucker in here. He trying to break our spirits, man. He must not have understood that we are descendants of a strong race of people. We come from Black Panthers, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. How dare that motherfucker belittle me? We can't let him break us. We can. Oh my god, my nose over here running. Eyes wide, and everyone was blindsided by the deep blow that had just been thrown. Several of them put their heads down, ashamed to even look at each other. That's just what they expect from us. but they don't expect it. What they don't expect for us is to get the fuck out of here. Oh my god, y'all gotta forget my nose is over here getting stuck probably because the fan is on. Oh, it's irritating. So this is I guess chapter one, silence. I was only 4 years old when my father came in the house yelling about some dumb shit. Y'all should be learning, boy, not playing with all those toys. My mom could smell my father's anger mounting again. She could sniff out that rancid scent that she had become too familiar with. The stench of his anger seeped from his airy pore. Um, uh, this was an aroma that made her fear for my life and her own. My father's tone was particularly harsh that day, and as he growled at me for holding the toy, my mom recognized that glassy look in his eyes. She could tell that her husband had been somewhere that he didn't belong. Mom's never wanted me to be on the receiving side of my father's blows. She had taken enough of them herself. There had been too many silent nights of her nursing her wounds with drugstore ice packs and cold and old towels. That night was not unlike all the rest. He was always yelling about something. My mom's came over to me, scooped me up off the wood floor, and placed me in my room. She was proud that we had two bedrooms. The second bedroom would come in handy at night. She would change our lives forever. She trembled as she thought, at least I have Jeffrey. He's worth everything I'm about to do. In my room behind the closed door, I played with the toy that she gave me. While I lost myself in it, I was losing my dad at the same time. Moms walked back into the living room and said to her husband, "Nigga, this is the night you gonna die. I've been stupid enough to take these beatings, but if you're gonna abuse my son like you've been abusing me, that's not going down." My father never said a word to her. He didn't argue. He didn't say I'll change or I will never hurt little Jeff or even I love you. I understand is all he said, and then there was silence. Moms called my grandmother and said calmly into the phone, "I'm leaving Jeff today. I can't take it anymore." My grandmother put her second husband on the phone. Grandpa Cherry okayed the arrangement. He said, "Yes, I'll come get you and little Jeff." And that was it. There was to be no more yelling and cursing. There was to be no more hitting. There was to be no more puffy eyes and salty tear stains for moms to try to hide. There was just to be no more daddy. And that's how he left us, with silence. My mother met my father at a party in 1974. As soon as William Jeffrey Atkins walked in the door with his head cut t shirt and muscular body, she immediately noticed him. She says that he was quite interesting. Mom admired his burgundy polyester bell bottoms and how they hugged his slim frame. She watched her husband to be float into the room without a word. It wasn't until the end of the evening that he finally approached her. I don't think there's any pictures of his family or anybody in this book. Yeah, I guess it's just words. Cause I don't know. I like to look at books with pictures. Then you notice me looking at you. I think I met you before, he said. They danced briefly to James Brown and the Payback, which was the anthem of the streets at the time. The song excelled black folks' new sense of freedom while acknowledging their collective rage. After they danced, he said, "I'm leaving now, but I like to call you. I'll get a pen and paper. I'll be back." My mother worried that the handsome stranger would float into the crowd, never to return. When he did, my mother went to a nearby table so she could write. The syrupy sound of Tara's "She's Gone" warmed the room. Couples danced and kissed under the colorful lights and the sparkles of the disco ball. It put her into a romantic mood. On a scrap of paper, she neatly wrote Deborah Ann Moorhan, 208 100 Avenue, Helios, Queens, 11423 and 718-656-3234. William said, "Smile, I didn't plan on writing you. I was going to call you." Her eagerness slightly embarrassed her. She whispered, "Just in case you wanted to write or come by someday." As they said their goodbyes, William Jeffrey Atkins promised to call. He didn't call for days. When he finally did, Deborah suggested William pick her up from school. William didn't realize that Deborah Moorhan was still in high school. He was a few months younger than her. He had graduated from Food and Maritime Trade School and was an aspiring baker. He agreed to pick her up after school, but with the warning, "I'll have a tie you on. I'm job hunting." I don't know who's watching my live, but I appreciate the two people that are watching. I also appreciate the like. Right now, I am reading Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man by Ja Rule. Shit went quick between them two. They dated heavily and fell in love all within a year. Before mom knew it, William Jeffrey Atkins was asking her to be his wife. When mom graduated from Central Commercial High School at 17, she walked down the aisle not only with a boyfriend, but also with a teeny diamond engagement ring on her finger. They married on September 14, 1974, when she was 18. "I always felt safe with your father. No one was going to bother me with him around," mom later told me. Although my mother was comfortable that my dad was making $500 a week, uh, once he started working, she didn't realize that he was also picking up a bunch of new friends with some very bad habits. 2 years later, a leap year, I was born in the rare 29th day. I was born on the rare 29th day of the shortest month of the year. That would be my first and last birthday celebration. We were Jehovah's Witnesses, no, so birthdays were not celebrated. The only thing my family ever did was cook a special birthday dinner after the fact. No one even said happy birthday to me. They didn't believe in it. Mom's worked as a secretary at Creedmoor Psychiatric Center right up until the week I was born. Every morning she would take me to my grandmother's house, work at Creedmoor from 8 to 4, pick me up at 4:30, take me home, make dinner, and clean the house while my father was hanging out in the village with his new friends and their bad habits. Soon, moms and me start to linger at my grandmother's house every morning, allowing moms a little time to catch up with my grandmother and hear about the things that I had done to make her laugh that day. I was a well behaved child, and my father and sister used to argue with each other over who would take care of me. We would all comfortably sink into the darkened folds of night, passing time and catching up. My grandmother and mother would reminisce about me being in a school play. I was playing Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. There was two of us originally given the role because the play was really long. On the day of our performance, the other kid was sick. My teacher had asked me to do that kid's part as well as my own. The teacher quickly decided that I would have to write down the other kid's lines on the inside of the role. I did the role so well that the audience gave me a standing ovation. My grandmother was proud. Mom's giggle with pride. I love when my grandmother told that story. It gave me a hint that I was made to entertain. That was the first time I felt the rush of being on stage. Another evening after we got back to our two bedroom apartment on the third floor of the walk up in Queens Village, Mom cleared in the already clean house, made dinner for two of us, gave me a bed, and laid out my clothes for the next day. Tired but not ready to go to sleep, she sat on the couch to read a book while I played on the floor at her feet. The youngest baker bust in and lashed out at Mom's. In a rage, he grabbed the book out of her hand and started ripping out the pages one by one, and then tore them into teeny pieces. He then threw them into the air, sending confetti like scraps into the air that showered down on my head like snow. It was on. My mother was ready to fight. My father punched her in the eye with such force that her brown eye turned black as night. After the scuffle, when she looked in the mirror, she knew she couldn't go back to work the next day. The days ticked by, but there was no improvement in her eye. Reluctantly, she returned to work with a new accessory, shades. Mom's supervisor, also a black woman with a folksy, down to earth style, was surprised by the new look. She teased her, saying, "Girl, you need to take those sunglasses off. You must have gotten your ass beat last night." My mother was so shocked and humiliated at that all she could do was slowly remove the glasses that were meant to hide the truth of her marriage. The supervisor was speechless. The ugliness of my mother's ravaged eyes sobered her supervisor. She looked into my mother's troubled eyes and said, "Deborah, it will happen again. You can't stay. You must leave now or it will go on. There are places you can go. There are shelters." My mother didn't listen. Another time, my parents were at a wedding, and my father slipped away to wander around banquet ball, the banquet hall to see what other party he could crash. When Mom realized that he was gone, she went to find him. Mom's bragged, "It was my turn to act crazy." She found my father dancing and flirting with another woman. My father was always womanizing. It's almost like he did it just to make Mom's mad. The humiliation, anger, and shame must have choked her. She grabbed the umbrella from the hall, stormed out of the building, and went to a parking lot. She walked over to their car and attempted to bust the windshield. My dad followed her and watched her unsuccessfully assaulting the car. He came up behind her and they started going at it in the parking lot until my uncle stopped them. When my uncle finally got them in the car, he drove and they fought all the way home. My father throwing sloppy punches over the leather seats. My mom always said no one could stop him when he was enraged. Mom could see that my father's new habits were starting to have a grip on him. She pretended that things were going well, but she knew that they weren't. Although my father was still making good money, he was also squandering it away to buy more drugs. Mom knew it. Mom knew in her heart that her marriage was already over. When she learned that she was pregnant again, she was devastated. She gathered the strength to confess her fears to my father. I'm thinking of not going through with this pregnancy. In response, he said, whatever you want to do will be fine for me. Mom scheduled abortion, and her girlfriend, Diane, agreed to go with her. Diane talked mom ear off all the way before the appointment. Debbie, I'll take care of the baby if you don't want it. She finally said, I'm not going to carry a baby for 9 whole months and then give it to someone else. That's just not right, Mom said. Mom just braced herself for being a single mother of two. After all, her own mother had struggled with four. Moms remember her own childhood with a lonely mother whose drunken first husband. Mom's father was living in the bottle. My mom and her siblings were all latchkey kids. Moms knew she could survive even if it meant that my little sister and me would let ourselves into an empty apartment with only the streets to raise us. Oh my God, here I go again. Nose all stuffy. I don't know who's still watching. I see people coming in, leaving, coming in, leaving. I don't know who watching, but I'm almost done with the first chapter. What the hell? Mom's carried the baby from March to November. It was the autumn of my 5th year, and the pregnancy was almost over. Although she was going to the doctor for her regular checkups, the hospital weren't using high tech ultrasound machines to check on babies in the hood. That shit was for rich people. I guess back then, as long as the doctor heard a heartbeat, they told my mother that she and the baby were fine. During the last month of the pregnancy, my aunt Kathy asked moms an innocent question as they sat in the Atkins kitchen shooting the shit. Deborah, has the baby been kicking? My moms knew that, at that moment, that something might be wrong. No one had asked the question during the whole 9 months. Mom's thought back to her first pregnancy and the hell I put her through with my constant kicking and moving. I had been eager for life. The baby is just lazy, not like my Jeffrey mom told herself and Aunt Kathy. The very next day when she went to the doctor, he said he couldn't hear the heartbeat anymore, only silence. The doctor said that the baby was just floating inside of mom's, not even fully developed, even though mom had been getting fatter over the past 9 months. My father had been using cocaine and selling it for over a year. That might have had something to do with how the pregnancy got fucked up. The doctor sent mom home with a dead baby in her belly, saying that she should deliver the baby naturally. Later that same day, was overcome with pain. When the baby finally did come out, the delivery was effortless. Mom didn't even have to push. The nurse took the baby away. Mom refused to look at the twisted sight of an almost life. I turned her into a person by giving her a name, Christian. Mom said longingly, I'm sorry. Um, the only solid explanation that my 5-year old mom was offered was mom's first word. Christian was stillborn. I didn't understand really, but I sensed the ache of emptiness that was familiar. As a child, I didn't understand death. I wasn't there to grieve with my mother after my sister was stillborn. It wasn't until later on in my life that I grieved. I talked about Christian's death in my song Daddy's Little Baby, as well as my daughter Brittany's birth. I always wanted a sibling, but it never happened. I carry Christian in my heart. She's a constant reminder that responsibility comes with being alive. And that means early on I was a survivor. Okay. So that was the prologue and the first chapter of Unruly by Ja Rule. I'll get back to y'all in the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, share my videos with friends and family. Feel free to donate to my Cash App, which is Kashmere Majesty 26. That is KASHMEREMAJESTY 26. If you would like to see new reviews, mukbangs, wig reviews, doll reviews, mannequin reviews, or whatever, or even if you just want to support my channel because you like my content, feel free. It's always available. I don't force nobody into doing shit. If you want to do it, you have the opportunity to. Once again, that is KASHMEREMAJESTY 26. I'll get back to you on the next video.